Hey everyone. Yeah, I did a bit of an audio on this that I might upload later. When I was on my break, I did a bit of an audio with my digital voice recorder on this, so like I said, I might upload that later. Um, but I got a question to ask you, and I know I've talked about this many times. I've talked about this several times before, but after going to certain animation forums and all that, just out of curiosity, my question to you is, have you noticed how unlimited Japanese animation is, or Japan anime is? Have you noticed how unlimited it can be? How mostly anything you can think of is nearly attainable, if you will, attainable, if you will. They're not unreachable. They're not untouchable or anything. I mean, everything is just unlimited. Everything is right there for them to take. And and I know other countries do that too, but it's almost like Japan, who has great animation, great anime, whatever you want to call it, just goes to limits no one else would think of. They just go to in directions and do things that normally you would only read maybe in fan fiction, maybe. You would use something like, let's see, I know it's here somewhere. I just passed it. Uh, you'd use Kobo to use, right? To read stories on. And again, though, these are areas and directions no one but Japan and their anime, which is great animation, great spectacular animation that goes with great stories and movies and shows. It's like they're limitless with this. And I know American animation can do the same thing, but mostly with adult animation. But Japan goes to limits we can't even imagine. There are certain things that people are intrigued by, certain things that I'm going to just initialize by saying UB is one thing that people are intrigued by. SV is what people are intrigued by. V is what they're intrigued by, but mostly UB and SV. Absorption, absorb, if you will. Stuff like that. Merging. Heck, even the melting, I think they do as well, but mostly that's done here in the States. But still, they got that lustful melt thing down there too. But you kind of get the idea. We kind of have dibs on that. But again, the other things that I mentioned, the UB, the SV, the absorption, the merging. Now, these are things that you would expect SV and absorbing wise. You would expect stuff like that maybe in adult animation and sort of in a very toned down, kid friendly action adventure setting kind of deal. I mean, you take a look at Archie's Weird Mysteries, for example. There was an episode which was their parody of the Blob called Beware of the Glob. And we find out that anybody that gets sucked in or eaten by this glob thing is not killed, is not dead, but they're just absorbed into it. Basically, like they're just held hostage, or they're absorbed to a point that they somehow spread out a little bit, or I don't know. But the thing is, you have all that. You have all that, and Japanese animation, their anime, they take it to a whole new level. And it doesn't matter what age range, apparently. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But there are certain animes that are aimed for all ages, animes aimed for teenagers, and animes most definitely aimed at adults in more mature settings, very mature settings, that from what I've read and heard about, go in directions you wouldn't even think. Like I said, they'd be doing things like with the SVs and UBs and the absorptions that you would only read in fan fiction. And it's really surprising. It really is. They go in directions and they do that. It's really, really surprising. And I don't know about you guys, but just reading about the fact that they do a lot of this. I mean, I'd heard, like I said, they go into different areas, sometimes disturbing, non-disturbing, stuff like that. But to hear that they actually do what sometimes people write into the stories of fan fiction, sometimes mature fan fiction, adult fan fiction, it's like, wow, what a real difference between Japan anime and American animation. It's like night and day in a sense. It really is. I mean, when you would say to yourself, "Oh, that only happens in fan fiction and in arts and all that," and all of a sudden, here's something out of Japan doing exactly that in their animes. What is not off limits to these people? What is not off limits? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just amazing how far they will take anime, and their anime is just spectacular at times. Even with some of these very mature shows that they have out there, um, the animation is just beautiful, from what I understand. It's just spectacular. I mean, they even do fusions and stuff. That yeah, you'll see that here in Western animation, American animation, but you see it most of the time there. I mean, Vivid Red Operation. Hello. I mean, it's just amazing. It's just really amazing how vast and limitless Japan anime is. In what areas they will go to, what things are not off limits to them. It's just amazing. I mean, I'm just a fan of animation, but to learn about that. I mean, I've talked about this before, yeah. But to know that this actually does happen, that they do the SVs, the UBs, the absorptions, the fusions, the mergings, sometimes maybe the meltings and lustful melts, a lot more than, and they go to limits with it more than we would, or go into limits with the SVs and the UBs and the absorptions and all that and the mergings more than we would. It's just in the fusions. It's just really in the meltings and like I said, sometimes the lustful melts. Just to see the areas they were going with them, amazing. It's amazing, but it just shows you that as good as American animation is, from Disney, DreamWorks, Pixar, Blue Sky, you name it, out there. As good as that is, CGI, 3D, or 2D, unfortunately, it cannot hold a candle sometimes to what Japan anime can do. Especially when everything that people could put in stories, or whatever, that you would think only belongs in stories, is it's just unlimited. It's just unlimited to them. And I think if there's a major difference between Japan anime, Western animation, and other countries' animation, it's the fact that Japan anime, most of all, is unlimited to anything they do. They have no limits. Not saying, like I say, other countries don't do the same, but it seems that Japan has no limits to what they can do. And I think, in a sense, that's why their anime, that's why people are fans of their anime, because they are unlimited to what they can do. But that's just my take on that. You guys let me know what you think. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys think of that. I'll talk to y'all later.